This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Today in the podcast, the one and only Brett Horrocks. Welcome, my friend.
What's up, my man? Glad to be here.
We've been chatting for like 10 minutes, which I do with like every guest, right? Because I'm just a chatty guy. But we were just talking, dude. You have turned down like 1 million podcasts.
No, not 1 million. I do turn down a lot, though. I do. Yeah. I don't like doing podcasts. As we were just talking, I've produced a lot of podcasts. Yeah. But the one thing with podcasts, I don't thrive in interview style. I really don't. Like when you and me are in our conversation and just flowing, like things just come to me, the right things come. But like, I feel like when I get put on the spot some of the times, like it's just not my true answer. It's like, I wish I would have came back. I wish I would have answered that, right? And so I did a couple podcasts and I'm like, I didn't like that. And I actually made them, I did 3 podcasts and I had them take them all down. I made them take all of the podcasts down. The guys were actually mad because they were decent. And then like, I was critical of myself, but like, it was just like, that's not my flow. That's not my style. I didn't want the world to see me like that. And so the reason why I actually accepted yours though, is I listened to yours a lot. Like I actually listened to most of your podcasts.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel like you are really the only person outside of like Rogan that's like kind of mastering this non-interview style podcast. Yeah. Like I actually really like thoroughly enjoy listening to it because I feel like I'm a fly on the wall of like a conversation versus watching like an interview. Yeah. And so that's why I said yes to yours. But yeah, that's actually why I turned down most podcasts.
Oh, cool, dude. Yeah. No, and honestly, I get that. You know, it's interesting. I'll have guests, a lot of will be like, well, what's the questions? Send me a list of questions. And I'm like, dude, it's just whatever pops in my head, man. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, and I've actually explained it that way. I'm like, I want people to feel like a fly on the wall. I just want them to like be, driving wherever, doing whatever, mowing their lawn and just being like, oh, I wonder what these two guys are talking about and just see kind of where the conversation goes. And it's funny too, right? Because I feel a little embarrassed, I guess, to like tell people like, well, what's your style? And I'm like, I want to be like, just like Joe Rogan.
There you go.
But like, you're kind of like copying the greatest, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it really is my personality. It's just, I mean, you know me, through all the freaking Watt stuff, dude. It's just like, I just like to talk with people, see what's going on, learn about them, talk about me sometimes. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, dude, I honestly, you've really accomplished that well. I think that you've done that better than most people I've seen. So that's why I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be on this podcast because we've known each other for longer than Watt though too. Because we were talking about courts like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been talking courts for a long time. Yeah. But I was actually thinking, we're driving down here, I'm like, I don't know how we actually first got introduced. Do you remember?
I don't either, no.
It's bizarre. I can't remember.
Wild, dude, so when you enter, I'm like the underground basketball mafia construction guy.
Yeah.
Like even last night, so there's a project of ours that's gone bad, right? Well, the relationship at the top has gone bad, put it that way.
The one I know about?
The one in Harriman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Brett Wright hit me up last night, dude. I'm at the game. I'm at UVU's game, right? And he's like, dude, I need you to help me broker 2 floors. And I'm just like, oh, hell, here we go. It wasn't, dude, I had one sentence into that thing and I was like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about, right? Yeah. And so he goes, it's out in Harriman. I just, hit him back with the name of the place. He goes, of course you know this, right? And I'm like, not only do I know it, we sold those floors in there, kind of. What really happened with that is, the guy that bought the floors and my business partner actually did a deal outside of me, right? And it went bad because whenever you do dumb shit like that, karma just comes and hits you.
Correct.
Right? Now, I don't know if my partner full on meant to do the deal outside of me, right? But he ended up accepting the money to his own account, like all this kind of stuff, right? And then it went bad, right? And it has a lot to do with the original owner wanted to get 2 NCAA courts, right? They're expensive. They're way outside of his budget, okay? And so then he was like, okay, go find me some floors, right? And their communication's horrible together. I mean, I've heard, oh my God, if I could tell you the amount of stories I've heard between both of them, it's like bananas, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I told Brett, I was just like, Brett Wright, I was just like, I'm like, dude, I have actually tried to broker this deal between these two and fix it. And we were supposed to go back in like November of last year. And I've walked the thing with them. And dude, out of nowhere one day, he just hits me up and he goes, I want a refund. And I go, well, that's not how this works. You know, number one, you've been playing the courts for like 9 months. So if you want to rent them, they're $10,000 each month, you know, so which was way more than he had already put down. Right. And I'm like, let's just, you know, I'm like, cooler heads prevail. Right. And I'm just like, let's just fix this. Like, what do you want? Well, I want new courts. Like, okay, then we will sell these ones and we will find other courts and bring them in. And he's like, well, what would that cost? I'm like, I don't know. It's the market, dude. It depends what I can buy them for. You know, we're $60,000 in labor to sand these all down. And, you know, of course, you know, and here's the deal. I'm not really throwing him 100% under the bus either, except for he did some dumb things, right? Like when we went to install the freaking thing, he had no electrical. So you got to have 220 power, right? So we got to rent a generator. Yeah. They didn't clean the floor up. He was rushing every single sub through the whole project, right? They were doing sheetrock over top of the floor. It's like, then he's mad they're dirty. It's like, you did sheetrock over the floor, man. Like, could you pick a dirtier trade, you know? And so it's like, I don't know, I just got really, really frustrated with the whole thing. And then he kind of went a little ballistic on me, actually. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to give you one more shot at this. And then he went ballistic again. And I was just like, all right, you're blocked. Deal with my partner then. See ya.
That's good.
And I haven't talked to him for like, I don't know, 6 weeks.
Oh, that was the last thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot. Dang.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even part of the deal.
Yeah.
I wasn't making any money off of it. Like,
Dang,
it's
dude.
like, I'm completely out of it. So my original partner, or my partner now, he owned a company before this. And we joined and formed a company together.
Yeah, I feel
right? And so my entity, which is honest, had nothing to do with this transaction. Yeah. It's not on the paperwork. It's not, I didn't freaking buy the floors. Like there's nothing in there. Yeah. So anyways, going off on a tangent. So,
no, I like it.
Without naming names.
Without naming names, we only just said the location.
But yeah, exactly. But it's, I mean, here's the real deal. It'll all work out in the end. Yeah. It's like that construction thing where you got guys who have a little bit of money and they, you know, I don't know. They're buying something very expensive, so their ego's kind of coming into it, right? And then they don't understand wood floors, so when you explain it to them, they think all wood floors are equal, and it's like, no, they're not. You know, they're just not. And so
that's true.
I mean, they've been doing, I don't know, hardwood portable floors for 70 years. I don't know how long they've been doing them for. Yeah. Longer than I've been alive. For real. And so you got a bazillion different versions of them, you know, and the new ones are really, really good. Yeah. They're also expensive, you know? I mean, pretty much, if you want to buy a brand new portable floor, like you're an NBA team, and they're about $195,000 to $250,000.
That's with paint and everything? That's with paint install? Everything.
Well, yeah. So install's a little different, right? So technically, in an arena, we don't install anything, right? Because they have an event staff. So we just ship them the pallets, and their event staff puts it down, puts it back up, you know? It kind of just goes into their system. Okay. If it's a private location, yeah, we throw a little bit of install in there, but like install is quite simple, really.
Just like put it down.
Unless you're buttoned up against the wall and you have pipes and stuff coming out and you have to like cut panels and all that kind of stuff. As long as it's a clear area, yeah, I mean, it takes 2 hours to put a floor down. So you go grab, you know, 20 temporary employees, you know, and throw the thing down. It costs you, I don't know, $1,000. Yeah, it's nothing. Something like that. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay. So, that makes sense. Dang, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not bad, right?
It's good business.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you know, quite frankly, dude, like we have, I don't know, 20 to 30% margins most of the time. I mean, sometimes we go higher than that. It all kind of depends. I mean, like we're doing some for Real Madrid right now. And we're actually doing some for Valencia, Real Madrid, Barcelona potentially. Like we're the first ones that are actually bold enough to go into the European market. And the reason why is because historically people have, you know, you make those wood panels and they're just like, excuse me, you make those wood panels and they're blank. And then you have to have someone like us who's a finisher come and finish them. Mm. And so we've recently, I don't know when this podcast is going to get released, but we recently just bought into a mill. Okay. And so we actually make our own wood now as well. So we do it A to Z. Okay. And when you ship panels over to Europe or Asia or anywhere, right? If it goes over ocean, they get damaged a lot, right?
Makes sense.
And because of the timing of like clients, right? Like they want stuff now, right? And so it's like, well, if this wood gets wet, it has to like dry out for like a month before you paint it. Because once you paint it, you seal it. And then, you know, if it's swollen with moisture or like whatever, there's all this bull crap that happens, right? So we've educated the market really well, the clients over there, and said, this is the timeline, right? By the time you give us the money, it is 6 months out. Mm. because we are just like hard and fast, like 6 weeks on the ground. 6 weeks on the ground in the building. We're not touching it for 6 weeks. And that's way overkill. A week is probably fine, but
Dang. Okay.
I can't have wood floors bowing and warping when I'm sitting here in Utah and it's in, freaking Madrid.
Yeah. Especially with that type of climate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they're just like, I mean, it's kind of funny because they say to me all the time, we don't care what it costs. And I'm like, I get that. It still has to perform perfectly. Like, guys, I'm past the, you're going to make a lot of money on this, dude. I'm like, I know. Like, let's make it perfect. That's what I want.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
So, but the FIBA Association, they kind of have these Chinese floors is basically where they come from, and it's just a bunch of plywood with a sticker over top.
Oh, cool.
Well, it's not even close to what maple.
So yours
is,
is
right?
just going to take over all that. Smart.
But they're 5 times the cost, at least. They're way more expensive. Oh yeah, you're getting a freaking Chinese floor for like $25,000, right? So we're about $225.
Yeah, but it's worth it. They can't reuse those, or they can.
They can't reuse those. You can't sand those ones. The ones that we sell, you can.
Yeah, but the $25,000 one, they can't.
No. I guess you can put another sticker over top if you want, but then it's like, how many layers of that are you going to do?
Yeah, for sure.
And they don't want to actually play on stickers. So playing on stickers is really bad because, well, it's not really bad. It's just not ideal. So they've had a lot of knee issues over there, right? Because, if you have a vinyl on the ground and it gets wet from sweat, and then you push off of it, it's just like an ice skating rink.
For sure.
Right? In America, we actually have an NBA approved, what's called a play on decal. That's what we were talking about, the NIT tournament.
Yeah.
Even the Trailblazers, they have actually play on decals on the outside on their borders. Because they have like little, you can get really detailed in that, right? You just print it off whatever your mind can come up with on a computer. So, but yeah, I'm going to go off on a big tangent there, but yeah.
I know.
It's kind of fun, man. Yeah.
The courts. Oh, because that's how we introduced. That's how we got introduced, was because the courts. That's funny. Yeah, no, that industry is just like a weird world. Like, we obviously wanted to build a court like a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of potential. Like Utah's a little bit behind in basketball. Like, youth basketball is just kind of behind in Utah by a couple of years. So like, what I mean by that is, in other states, and majority of states, like a 10-year-old is playing at like a 14-year-old, 12 to 14-year-old level at Utah, right? Yeah. In Utah. And so there's kind of just like this missed opportunity of, we could probably bridge that gap pretty quickly by just simply adding in things that other states have, like better AAU programs, better facilities for youth, better trainers and programs for youth, and get them started. Because like, there's really nothing right now. And so that was why we were first like looking at building a court back at when the pandemic first hit. But that's like the goal of putting like a court like we would in Utah, would be just to like, let's just kind of level that playing field and get Utah youth on a similar basketball field, because it is a little bit behind. I mean, Utah Valley kind of proved that differently. They made their run, but that was cool. How was that game?
The game was good. Yeah, it was good. I mean, we lost, right? We kept on tying it up. We went up a little bit, I mean, we ended up being down by 4. They popped a corner 3, but then they only had, 2.5 seconds left, and they didn't foul quick enough. But I mean, you're talking miracle shots at that point, right? 2.6 seconds down by 1.
True.
Of course, I don't know if you noticed with UVU though, they won the WAC outright. They go to the WAC tournament and they get knocked out on a freaking 4-point play. They fouled the guy shooting a 3, lost by 1.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's like,
do you not get an automatic bid if you win the WAC?
Yeah, but you got to win the WAC tournament.
Oh, okay.
So they won the regular season, right?
Okay.
Then they go to the tournament, right? And in the WAC tournament, they lost. I can't remember what round it was. It was a little earlier on. I think they lost like their second game or something like that.
It's too bad, because I wish we would have actually seen them in the actual tournament. They probably would have made a pretty good run. That's a good team.
Well, they would have played Gonzaga. So Grand Canyon University, they went in there, and Gonzaga beat the death out of them, I think. But I think we handled Grand Canyon pretty easily. The team's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell.
And you never know with matchups. College basketball is so different too. Like, Gonzaga, but like anytime any team could come in.
Exactly.
Like, especially like a program like that with the chip on their shoulder.
Well, look at the Final Four right now, right? Then you have like Florida Atlantic, UConn. I mean,
well, the FAU one's that one. If you look at their story, they were actually way better than the seeding. They should have been like a 3 or 4 seed, because they lost like 3 or 4 games during the year.
Yeah.
But they had like the team. Oh no, what happened is they lost their tournament, but the team that won the conference had like a postseason ban or something. And so they're in, but like they had a great record and everything, but because of like the seeding and who they are, I mean, they're a good team. Like that team can run it. I'm like, let's go.
No, they're a fun team. I watch, well, this isn't offended in my clients, but I watch no college basketball, dude, until the tournaments. So we, I don't know if you know this about our company, but we store a lot of the floors for like, so we store the Pac-12 men's and women's floor, Mountain West, Big West, WAC, West Coast Conference, pretty much them all. Like all the ones that are in Vegas, I don't think there's any in Vegas that we don't do.
Dang, cool.
And so we store them, we tech them, we refinish them. You know, we have like, you know, storage contracts for those guys that keep their floors up in our place up in Shelley, Idaho. Freaking wild, right?
Sick.
And so I have, I don't know, freaking 17 guys, 18 guys down there for that one, for those, it's actually 2 weeks because you have the women's tournament and then the men's tournament.
Yeah.
And then the next week is the NCAA tournament, and we do a lot of those floors. So I think we store 3 or 4 of those floors up in Shelley. Dang. You should come to my shop. Have you ever bored as hell and want to drive all the way to Shelley, dude? Come see the shop
down.
up there. It's fun though, because we always have like an NBA court down that we're working on.
Sick.
Or something cool. There's always something cool going down. So
no, I'm gonna head up there. Yeah. Go see like the new Warriors court next year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. In fact, dude, let me think about when we'll have to talk, we'll have to talk off camera, but I'll tell you when the next Warriors court's coming up. Yeah. So we just signed up the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, sick.
So
That's
they
a good
just
one.
became our client like 2 weeks ago.
Dang,
so we're gonna be doing all their new courts, and you know we have the Bucks, we have the Grizzlies, we're working on Denver right now, working on Phoenix is gonna be kind of hard to get because the guy down there that does their court he's a really good dude, but you never know, man.
You never know.
So you never know.
Hey, taking over.
Yeah, trying.
It's a good market.
Trying to strategically take over.
Yeah, dude. No, congrats. You've done a really good job. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and I'll tell you, man, we do a lot of courts in Utah. Like freak. So you've got, you know what Shoot 360 is?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So they got Shoot 360 in Lehigh, the Kaysville one. I'm actually going up there next week to measure out for all of it.
Sick.
They said that they want to put 4 in. I don't know if they're going to do 4. They'll probably only do 3. I don't know. I guess we'll see what they say, but they're going to try and put one in like in West Jordan or West Valley. They haven't found the spot. And then they want to put another one on the east side. And I'm like, seems aggressive, you know, but then you got that one in Harriman.
That one's a good one.
Courts. Yeah, it's a nice facility.
Good place though. Good location. Like, yeah.
You know, what's funny about that one, dude, is I actually saw that commercial property for sale and I was like, dude, I should, because I'm leasing my spot right now, but I want a bigger spot. Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh, I should go buy this piece of property and just build my building out there. And then I ended up not doing it because of COVID, all this crap. And the guy that built the building, you know, he ended up doing a good deal on it and you know, got it. But
I live like two seconds away from there.
Oh, do you?
It's like you know where that gas station is? Like the whole day, I'm just up that hill.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why so the same reason, bro. When I saw that, I'm like, hey, that's where I think I texted you. I'm like, hey, there's a perfect place for a court in Harriman. You're like, I think there's one going there.
Oh, I think, you did.
That's what happened. Yeah. You're like, I think one's going there, but I wanted it too or something. I'm like, how? Yeah. How is that possible?
One, it's a weird piece of property, right? Because it's completely surrounded by residential.
Yeah.
There's 2 LDS churches.
And then like a school, but...
Oh, is that a school?
Yeah, in front of it.
Oh, no,
there's 2 churches and then a school.
Yeah,
and then it's just houses forever. Then a random gas station.
Oh, dude. Man. Do you know where I live?
Yeah. So I was going to build in your guys', so my attorney is Jonathan Rudd.
Oh, okay.
You know, is in your neighborhood. So I was going to build in there because we loved that neighborhood. Like you actually live so I think that I live in the second best neighborhood in Utah. Yeah. You live in the best. And because it's just like, so hidden. Yeah. You cannot get to your house. Like no one knows about your houses. Yeah. Like no one knows about these massive, nice houses hidden in Utah, in the middle of Utah, which is really cool. But we decided to go, we wanted to go a smaller neighborhood, just like try to find like if we could get like a niche of friends and stuff like that type of community. And so that's why we chose Harriman, but it's funny like how it works. Harriman bought that land from Bluffdale. Yeah. And so I'm actually not far from you. The corridor is what is the only thing that separates our houses. Yeah. We're in different cities.
Yeah. No, my neighbors, dude, and hopefully they laugh at this, but dude, so one is a 146 is in the south of my neighborhood or whatever, right? That was supposed to go through, right? Hit Mount Corridor. My neighborhood pitched a fit. They were just like, oh, we're going to have all this traffic. And I'm like, that is going to be a freeway one day, guys. Like we're going to be a minute away from a freeway. And then they built a gas station and they built Redemption Bar. And then they're building all these other restaurants out there. It takes us 20 minutes. So for all the listeners out there, they pass, I don't know what they passed or what the hell they did, but they ended up sticking a water tank there, shutting off the access to that road. And I'm like, I could throw a baseball and hit a gas station, and now we've got to drive 20 minutes to get around to it. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, but I'm honestly like 3 minutes away from that Redemption and gas station thing. And
that's nice, huh?
It's so nice. Like all those things opening up, I'm like, perfect. Let's go. Oh my God. Leaves and all that. It's funny. But yeah, dude, I actually, because I heard about it from Jonathan when that all went down. Yeah. Because he was saying, but I get both sides. I get like having access and like being that like close to that would have been nice, but like there is something to say about how you guys are so hidden. Like there's no reason for anyone to go to your guys' neighborhood unless you live there.
I didn't believe it existed. Yeah. So so when I lived in a townhouse for like 8 years, right? It was a decent sized one. It was like 3,300 square feet or something. We could have been there forever. And we decided we wanted to get a yard for our kids because we're crazy. And so then I'm like, well, let's go look around. So I was at Holiday, Cottonwood Heights, and I was kind of like all over the place in the valley, and I could not find. This is like 2016. I could not find anything I liked, like nothing, right? And my friend, so Nick Howland, right? Yeah, so how I know Nick is because of his little brother Tyler. He lived in the townhouses with us, and then he moved to the Falls.
Okay, sick.
And he was like, oh, dude, you got to come check out the Falls. And I'm like, where is he? He's like, Bluffdale. I'm like, ugh. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Like, true. I was thinking it was going to be like everyone's got a horse in their backyard and blah, 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 blah. And so I was kind of not scouring the MLS, but I'd look every couple of days to see what was in my parameters. And all of a sudden this house pops up, right? I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go check this thing out, right? So I go over there, dude, and the builder's in there. And I guess what had happened, dude, is like the builder and the original owner, his client, just got in a massive fight. And he was like, F you, and they were like, F you, and they like sued each other. And so he listed the house, and I went in there, and he was literally like he was the guy that was in the house.
That's cool.
I'm kind of like looking around, like the carpet wasn't in yet. There was like basically like a week of finishes, right? And dude, long story short, he was like talking to me about the house, and I actually went in there to look at the bathroom because I wanted to replicate it because I was going to build.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And he goes, I want to get rid of this house. I was like, okay. Like, okay. And then and he goes, just make me an offer. I want to get rid of this thing. Like, I'm angry, basically, right? And I was like, okay. So then, like, I left, and I was like, So I brought my wife there, like, either the next day or the day after. She fell in love with the stupid thing. Like, did everything that we wanted, right? Like, master in the main, 3 bedrooms up top, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost on an acre. It's like 0.8.
Yeah, so but you have a dream house, bro.
Yeah. And so, dude, like this is, I don't know, it was like Thursday when I took my wife over there, maybe Friday. And like Monday or Tuesday, I'm back in Indianapolis where we make all of our gym equipment. And I think I just texted him and I was like, hey, I'll make you an offer. It's gonna be kind of a low ball offer, man, because blah, blah, blah. He's like, whatever. So we negotiated, dude. I'm literally like at a dinner, right? Guys are just yapping, getting drunk, and I'm just like negotiating to sell this house. And literally we closed like a week later.
Oh. That's right, bro.
I was just like, all right, boom, do it. And even at the end of it, I didn't use an agent. And so after we negotiated the price, I said, hey, I want 3% off because I'm not using an agent. And he goes, all right. Like he kind of in his head already thought there was an agent. And I'm like, no, it's me.
That's dope, bro.
Bam, dude. Got the house.
Know how to do it.
Freaking cheap compared to what prices are now.
Bro, you'd skyrocketed that neighborhood.
And I love the neighborhood. So we have like Jeremiah Cano's in there, and his wife, and Max and Alexis in there.
Yeah. You've got a couple of white guys that are sick.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. And then, I mean, we've been friends with Max and Alexis for years.
Yeah.
I don't even know how many years now. 5, 6.
Sick, bro.
And then, Jeremy, he built I think he built the last house in there.
Yeah, he did. Because he built a lot of those too.
Was he building some of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, those are sick homes. Those are all so sick.
They are very nice.
Yeah, and I like how it's all different though, and you get like just that like privacy still,
Yeah.
You can't get around that.
I feel like it's only neighbors to drive by.
Yeah, that's for sure. I agree with that.
So let me ask you some questions about you, Bob.
Yeah, let's go, bro. Now we can get into it.
I know, but this podcast is all about me. It's welcome to the Mark McCormack Show.
Oh shoot, bro, we can talk all day.
So what high school did you go to? Are you a Utah boy?
I'm a Utah boy, bro. I went to Hillcrest.
Nice.
I graduated in 13, so I'm 27, yeah.
Yeah, you young bucks out there.
Yeah, I did. I played sports. I grew up. I played baseball my whole life. I had like a group of, probably 8 dudes that we just all played baseball together since we were like 5 years old. It was sick, right? And then went to Hillcrest and quit baseball at like sophomore year. I was a little bitch and thought I was better than I was. And, it's funny because like I look back and I'm like, oh, that's like the first moment like ego kicked in and you just kind of like, we're like, F this. And then it's like, I've actually like dedicated my life to like never doing that again. It was kind of funny, but like, how it is. Like you see your name, you're like, oh man, I should be up with all of those dudes on varsity, but I'm not. Yeah. And you're like, go to the coach, like, yo, why am I not? Like, you're not good enough. You're like, all right, then F this, I'm out. I was like, looking back, oh dang, I probably should have just worked for it. But no, I did I took like a year off of sports and it was just like a weird thing. I just like was just chilling and then decided to do track. Like, do you know Marish, Coach Marish at all? He's been around, bro. No. He was at every school, so everyone knows him. But he was the football coach at Hillcrest and then got canned, but then stuck around as like the track coach. And he was like my mentor. I had him for like 3 free periods, right? Oh, cool. He's like, bro, come do track. I'm like, no, I'm a fat kid. I'm not going to go run track. He's like, no, throw a javelin. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll go throw a javelin. And it actually was fun, bro. Like I literally thrived. So that's all I did. I was just normal, chill kid.
You're a javelin guy?
Throwing javelin. Yep. Yeah. I was the javelin thrower. People don't really think of that, but like, yeah, I enjoyed it because it was like kind of a baseball thing. And everyone would tell me like, bro, you throw so wrong and bad. Cause like if you see javelin throwers, they're all skinny, super in shape. And it's like you run, huck it, and it goes so far. Well, Brett, I was a pretty bigger kid and like, I would just kind of like walk up and just throw it like I threw a baseball as far as I could. Yeah. And it worked. Like it was cool. Like, oh shit, this actually worked. But it was so funny. Like everyone would like watch me warming up like, oh great. Like brought a clown show here. But I was like, oh shoot, he can just chuck that thing. Yeah. And so it was cool. But that was my sports experience in high school. But yeah, I graduated from Hillcrest.
It's funny, man, because track, every time I hear track, I think of my friend Rich Larson. Okay. He was, it was the funniest thing ever, man. So our track team, I don't know how good they were. I actually have no idea. Except for I know my friend Rich he was a high jumper, right? And he would never go to practice. It pissed the coaches off. He has the state record, I think to this day. Yep. Not only that, dude, no form. Yep. None. So if you ever watch a high jumper, right, they go, they go running over there and they kind of lean over and they like bend their body over that bar and hit the pad, right? Dude, that bro jumps stiff back straight over that bloody thing. He just has like ungodly hops. Yeah. And like we'd go to his matches and like, the ones that were close, when he was traveling, it's like whatever, And like, dude, he would just, I don't know, it's just so funny. He just leap right over that crap. He actually has a twin brother named Joe. That's funny. And Joe was a really good basketball player, of course, And Rich just like, I don't know if he wasn't into basketball. These are like my 2 best friends growing up, right? Yeah, like, that's sick. Yeah, this little like tight group of friends, And like, it was just funny with track, man, because like, I'm going to quote a raw, I want to say he was like 7'1¼ or some insane amount. Dude, the kid's 6'4". And
that's crazy.
Oh, BYU wanted him. UVU wanted him. I think he ended up going to UVU. He did end up going to UVU. But I mean, it's like, I don't know how he feels about it now, but I almost think it's like, dude, if you would have like had like a coach and like a massive desire to be good at this, because I think he would say that he didn't really have a desire to be that good at it. I think he was just good at it, you know? Like his points made a huge difference on if our track team won, right? For sure. Because
it's a big deal. Works, no, it's a huge deal.
But if you have one guy that just absolutely dominates,
you're going to be good.
You need those points, and so. But yeah, dude, I've been to a lot of track meets.
Track. I actually tell people track is. I'll tell a story actually with track. So the most rare thing happened where I saw in track that doesn't happen in any sports, and this is why I tell everyone that I love sports is. I was running, and I'll go back to this because I said I'm not a runner. Yeah. For the biggest invite, it was a 4 by 100. So 4 guys each run 100, and you pass it off, right? And or a 4 by 400 maybe. Yeah, each guy runs a full lap, right? And then you pass it off to the other one. But anyway, so I'm running it, and everyone's cheering me on. Like every single parent, go Hillcrest, go! I'm like, looking at them while I'm running, like, why are you cheering for me? Like, it was the most bizarre experience because I never had experienced in playing basketball, baseball, growing up in these competitive sports. It was like, you hated the other team. Like, you just were taught that. And you had hundreds of people like screaming for you just to keep going. And I'm like, he's going on. And it's probably because they saw I shouldn't have been there. But bro, so quick story on this. I get done throwing at tournament. I did okay. Not what I wanted to do, but I was like, okay, it was good enough. Like, okay, I could probably go get a scholarship for this. So I was like, fine with it. Chilling, just eating my candy, sugar, whatever, being my fat ass. So, and the coach comes up, bro, you have to go run the 4x100 or 4x400 is what it was. Cause it's each time. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you're joking. He's like, the last leg got hurt. And like, we're good. We're a good track program. Yeah. No one else is there. No one's at this invite. Like, you're the only man that can go run it. But I wear basketball shorts. So you can't, in those rules, you have to wear shorts that are pretty short. Yeah. So I had to wear and run in just your Under Armour? Just my underwear. Yeah. And it was like, and I'm like, they're joking, right? And they're like, hey, the game plan is we're just going to get you the biggest lead. Like, these 3 dudes are going to hit ass. You just got to finish this thing, right? I'm like, all right. Bro, I feel so bad for these dudes. They haul ass. They get me into first place, like, by so long. It's so bad, bro. I shit you not. I've never ran anything in my life. Never ran competitively. Never even ran for like exercise before. And I'm in front of people. I'm like looking behind. I swear on my life, I'm looking behind because I'm like, these guys got to be catching up soon. Yeah. I'm like, where are they? But you don't look behind. So everyone's yelling like, stop looking behind, bro, run. And it's like, oh, shoot. I didn't win. We took third. So I got 2 guys that passed me. 2 guys that passed me. Bro, it was the worst experience. It was so hard. I got down, I got finished. My legs, I had never felt a burn in my legs like that before. I'm like, oh, these guys are crazy different. So I gained a different respect for track that day. Yeah. And I saw the sport because as I'm looking behind, and now that you know that part of it, you're like, okay, people are probably celebrating for you because they're like, this dude should not be here. Yeah, just like, I'm just like, oh yes, do I stay in my lane? Can I go in now? Like, yeah. Oh bro, it was so bad. But yeah, so they never asked me to run again.
Oh, I bet.
But that's my one track story. But honestly, I do love track because of that.
So question though. So if you would have just put your head down and gone, would you have got second?
If I would have put my head down and gone, had the right mindset, I would have still taken third. Okay, good. I was slow as shit, Mark.
Well, you never know. Right? I don't know if it was like you lost by like a second.
No, bro, they were far ahead of me. I'm like, oh. So what happened is the first guy passed me, and then the second guy passed me, and it hit me. I'm like, nobody's passed me. It actually bugged the shit out of me. I got passed, and I just finished it. I remember I finished really strong. Yeah. They were fast. I think that the coach actually did tell me after, like, yo, don't hit yourself up. Cause I was getting, why are you looking around? Like, and he was like, don't hit yourself up. You would have taken third anyways. So, good. Yeah. But I think, dude, I don't know. I think that you said your thing about your friend Rich. I think I didn't have a coach. They didn't have a javelin coach. The guy that did it. And now that I understand high school coaching, I would have told them, I probably would have done that too. He was like a videographer for a really big company, came one time to practice and was like, no, I'm not going to do this for free. And never showed up again. And so then they had me be the javelin coach, a guy that's never done it before. So that didn't really make any sense. But so I was like just watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. But I got, like I said, I could throw it, and I got good enough that I got a scholarship offer from a school out in Chicago. Like, it was bizarre. Like, you've got the basketball kids like all in the yearbook where they're going for, and then you just like track Brett, and then we're like, did that dude even do track? Like, what? Track? Yeah. Like, that dude, no way. But like, I didn't do it. Obviously I'm here, so I didn't go out to Chicago or anything, but, and that's a long story, but in itself, but
dude, at our high school. So my first year was the first year of Lone Peak, right? So it was the very first. Cool. Thing. So my sophomore year was the first year of Lone Peak, and we won 3 state championships that year, right? So you know how you do like the prep rally or the pep rally, and they're just like, and we took state. No, I was like, we took state, and they're like in swimming, and I was like, in swimming? Who the hell's in the swim team? Like, and like Lone Peak was small then; it was only 4A, right? So it was like, And I've been going to school with basically it was Highland Elementary and then Alpine Elementary joined at Mountain Ridge. It was like the exact same crew, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, where do they even practice that? You know, there was like 11 people on a swim team or something like that. And they had destroyed state. Like it was like, I'm like, oh. And I think a couple of them were like homeschooled. They just like were associated with the high school, you know? And then I can't even remember what crap we took. We took 3 state championships though. And it was a big deal because like a first year school like never does anything. Right?
No, it's true.
And so it's like wild, right? You're like, yeah, I was on track, you know.
Yeah,
I was on the debate team and in the Glee Club.
So true, bro. Everyone had that as No,
I'll tell you, if I could go back to high school though, outside of making out with every single girl, that's good. I really would not do that. I did debate in 9th grade. Debate, I talked about this on one of my podcasts. I love debate, dude. The skills in debate are like second to none.
Facts.
Because you have to argue both sides of an argument and you have to research both sides. Did you ever do any debate?
So I did DECA, and that's actually, it's hilarious. Like, so I work with athletes in the sports world or whatever. Yeah. I actually attained that to DECA because they made me the sports business guy. I had to write the sports business plan for our school DECA team. It was like the coolest thing in the world, but I didn't do debate. I wish I would have done debate. I tell people I wish I would have done debate and theater. Funny enough, but so Hillcrest was big with theater, and they would have been like, oh, this kid's this school douchebag. Why are you getting into theater? But looking back now, like as I've grown and matured, those guys are all really, really good people to be surrounded by. And two, do you realize like as an entrepreneur, how much better you'd be if you had what you would have learned in theater class, just like how to articulate and how to perform and how to get on stage. Like, I just feel like that right there as an entrepreneur is such a miss right now. Like if someone knows they're going to go on the entrepreneur path, I'm going to tell them, go get into theater right now. Learn how to speak on a stage. Because if you can articulate your message, you'll make a lot of money.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Even just presence, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you walk in a room or you're going to give a speech, you're going to, talk in a boardroom, like even have your voice carries. You give some guys and just like, oh, me. Yeah. It's like, dude, speak your words, let these people know what's going on. It's funny you say that, dude, because I never had a desire to be in theater until a few years ago. I actually love musicals. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a geek. I love them. Right. And it's mostly because I feel like they're like just some of the most talented people that are on the planet, right? Yeah. To be able to sing and move and dance and not get winded and
not
Hugh
care,
Jackman, right?
Like, bro, they have so much confidence.
Oh yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah, and they're amazing, right? Just amazing. Like I go to New York all the time and go watch Broadway. It's like the best, right?
That's cool.
But so the last podcast I did was with my friend Tanner Christensen. He's a producer, right? He just got into producing. So he's produced, I think he's produced 2 shows now, right?
Sick, good for him.
But he's just kind of made a name for himself and he's doing really, really well. And so on the podcast, right, he came down here, he's messing with me, right? And he committed me to be Potiphar in 6 shows in September.
Yes, let's go.
So I'll let everyone know about it.
That's sick.
So it's a non-speaking.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's non-speaking, but I'll be on the stage. But I do have to act.
Cool.
Right. And it was funny because he asked me if I'll do it on the pod. Right. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. And I was because I knew he was kind of messing with me, even though he really wants me to do it.
Yeah.
And I thought about it for like 10 minutes while we were talking to the podcast, and I'm like, Mark, obey your rule. My rule is to say yes to everything, unless it's like immoral or stupid.
For sure, for illegal. I like that.
And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So I tell my wife, and she's just like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm going to do it. So basically, the whole thing with like Joseph and the Technicolor. Yeah. So Donny Osmond's supposed to be the lead.
Okay, sick.
Right? So it's going to be big. If they can
That's awesome.
Yeah, if they can sign him, it's not, I don't think the deal's quite done yet. So maybe I'm talking out my butt right now. But,
pause.
But, or someone else will be on there. It'll be good either way, right? But I guess Potiphar's wife's kind of a hoe, right? So I kind of like walk out with her, then I go over and like count my money and do something else. But I think I'm on stage for like 5 or 6 minutes.
Dang, that's a lot of time. So, dude, good for you. Good job on saying yes to that. That's funny that got brought up too.
Yeah. No, you're like, I wish I would have done theater. I'm like, well, there's never.
I'm doing it.
Never a no to that. Yeah.
Honestly, you'll have to let's do another one and talk about like your experience on that.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll learn to sing and dance.
You should just go off script.
Oh yeah, on the last show. To all these people that are here today, the whole cast is like,
Be gone, my wife.
Yeah. Be gone. Carry on, woman. I'll be over here counting my riches.
Everyone just like,
dude, I don't even know if my friend would think that was funny or not.
No.
He'd probably laugh, but want to kill me.
oh yeah, but that would be a tough one to swallow for him.
He's just like, here goes Mark, Then at the end, I'm just out there all by myself, just bowing and bowing.
Curtsy call.
And the guy who played, Potiphar, right? Just I'm like,
Potiphar. Lead.
Come out with a skull, just like,
oh gosh. That's funny, man.
That would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. But it's about saying yes in life, right?
Yeah.
It's like whatever. That's why I'm in the walk group.
Yeah.
Jimmy's told the story in Iceland. Were you in Iceland?
I wasn't.
No, you weren't. Right, yeah. I actually told Jimmy no. Right? I was like, nah, dude, I don't need to be motivated. Like I'm pretty motivated, Yeah. And then the more I talked to Nick Howland, right? He's like, nah, dude, come do this with me, man. It's about friendship. It's about doing stuff. And I was like,
for what or Iceland?
For what?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for what?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, when I signed up for WA, I just said to myself, I'm just going to do every single thing, right? So, like all the adventure trips, the couple trip, like every little thing, if Jimmy wants us to volunteer at something, I'll volunteer at it, I mean, unless I've got some major scheduling conflict. Sure. But like, the good thing about WAT is, everything's so far out, it's really easy to make it happen.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, the one thing that's my favorite part about We Are the They by far, like obviously you hear like the community and the friendships, and like my thing is like seeing how, so I knew you before what, like I mean I'd interacted with you, we'd met, we talked about course, the whole thing, right? And it's like now I get to see another side of you and like 100 250 other men. That's like, it's just like crazy the amount of details that we go into and the relationships that we actually get. It's like there really is like true genuine friendships. And I don't think when people are like, oh yeah, my favorite thing is I have friends with 50 guys that no one's heard of, or that no one else could have. It's like, yeah, but when we talk about those genuine friendships, it's like we know everything about these people. Like we're calling these people constantly, texting these people constantly. It's not just like the typical, surface level friendship, which is cool.
Yeah. No, we joke about it being a cult all the time, right? And it's like, yeah, I'll take that on. Like, because it's not a cult, obviously, but like there's some aspects to it, right? Where like, yeah, there's an instant community, and there's an instant accountability.
Correct.
Like we're in little mini groups and we have like, accountability partners every now and again. And I call them accountability buddies because it's funnier. But, then we go to these like intense weekends, where we're like really trying to become better people, and you can see it in a lot of guys. A lot of guys have just like, and I hate the whole like epiphany thing, right? Where everyone's like, oh, epiphany every day, every 5 seconds I'm having an epiphany, seriously. Right? But the reality of it is like when you are constantly working on yourself, and when I say working on yourself, I mean like you're like letting go of things that don't serve you, right? And you're allowing your mind to be open to different concepts, and then you're allowing other people to love you, and you're allowing other people to serve you, right? Yeah. That's really where you start to grow. Sure. And it's because you become those things, right? So if people are loving on you, you end up loving other people, right? And if you see guys who are really into their wife and really into their kids, and then you're like, oh man, they seem really happy, and I'm like kind of grinding at this, and I've wasted some time with this, and it's like I'm gonna kind of follow his lead a little bit more. Like he is like really into his kids and is like, like what's important in his life, and just being around those guys. The whole saying, you become the person, the 5 guys around you, the top 5 guys, you become that person, the same guy, I'm saying that completely wrong, but you know what I'm saying.
I actually have a twist on that. I don't, so I agree with that in a sense, but what We Are the They has taught me is I can pick and choose what I want to take from them.
Oh yeah.
And like, so I used to fully agree with it. It's you become similar to like the 5 people that you're most like, or whatever that you surround yourself with. Right. And it's like, I can't believe I botched it too. That's hilarious, bro. We're so bad at this. But like, I really like
checking us leaving a bad comment.
And like, I had that, bro. I was around some people and I became like them and stuff. But then I see it now with We Are the They and like other relationships and stuff. And it's like, really, when you're putting in the work and working on yourself, you can look externally and think, all right, what serves me even within these 5 relationships? Like, where before it's like, okay, we're all different, right? We all do different things. We all have different standards. It just is what it is, right? But I feel like if you can get to like the 80-20 rule, like if 80% of someone I can agree with, I don't really care about that other 20%, or I can find ways to love that other 20%. That's what I'm really more focused on. And then if like at the same time, if the 5 people I'm around, 80% of them I agree with, if I become 80% like that, I'm okay then. Yeah. So that's my only tweak on that. But I totally agree with you. And like, I'll tell you one thing so you have a boy named Nixon.
Yeah.
How old is he? Right.
He's 11.
11. So like, bro, it was crazy. My son had a bunch of stuffed animals on his bed like a year ago. And my son's Nixon. His name's Nixon. He's 6. He was 6 at the time. And I'm like, bro, you're 6. No more stuffed animals. I'm like, I don't think you should have them anymore. Like, you're good. And I'm like, I felt a little weird at first, but I was like, whatever. He's just probably out of that phase. I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. Next day, you posted a picture of your son on his bed with 1 million stuffed animals with a whole caption of how you will not be the dad to take away his imagination. And like, bro, I literally went and put all of those stuffed animals back. I'm like crying. I'm like, son, I'm so. He's like, what are you? Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, Dad.
I think he's loving it. He's like,
yeah,
my squishmallow.
I get him back. Yeah. I'm like, I'm so sorry, bro. Like, what am I doing? You be you. Like, these can be your friends. And so like, I tell that story because like, yeah, bro, the we are the they thing is different, right? Like, so even like people, because obviously when you're in it even more and helping start it with Jimmy and whatnot, I've been hit up with like the cult thing, my family thinking like, what is this guy doing? Like, come on. But like really that story right there is we are the they. Like I can learn from your experiences, however you learned that, I don't know. But guess what? That like hole right there, like that little thing shifts an entire relationship between the father and son, how a father shows up, reacts, because you decided just to make a simple post of like, this is how I parent. Yeah. So that's where I go with that. But
dude, thanks for sharing that, by the way. That makes me really happy.
Thanks for posting it.
Yeah. It's funny when you first were saying that, I was like, frick, I got like an 11-year-old that's got freaking, stuffed animals everywhere. But like, I don't know where it comes from either. Let's take what I said earlier and let's take it to the next level, right? This is probably closer to what I really believe, right? Because I think everyone has stepping stones, right? And I think it's very important for people, once they kind of like understand who they are and who they want to be and plan the way to get there, what they realize is it's just you, right? It's you and the guy that stares in the mirror, right? So you're right. You get to pick and choose everything. In fact, that is like an eternal truth, right? You get to be whoever you want to be. And sometimes it takes time to get there. But as you start deciding like, hey, what's actually important in my life? Like I'll tell you a story about my wife. We homeschool, right? Last night, we were coming home from the UVU game. She's stressed out about school. She always feels like she's behind. And it's like what we fight about, right? Like we hardly fight. We really hardly ever fight. But I get so frustrated with her. I'm like, the reason why you feel like you're behind is because you're basing your entire perspective on a set of rules that doesn't even exist. What are they behind with? Yeah. What's the standard?
So true.
So last night I took more of a kindness approach to her talking about it. And she's like, I don't know why I feel this way. I'm like, get to check yourself. You need to spend some time with you and realize that it doesn't matter. I don't even care if they learn as much as kids in public school. It doesn't matter because in my world, right, we've already started building them a net worth, right? And so I've started teaching them what that means very gently, right? My oldest is 13, but when she hits 15, that's when it's go time, right? That's when dad takes over. She's going to come to work. She's actually going to start taking college online school, right? Yeah. So she'll do a little college at work, and then she's going to work at work. And then by the time she's 20 to 25, right, I'm going to have them own real estate. I'm going to have them, they already have a stock portfolio. They'll have little assets and and I'm still going to let them follow their dreams. Don't get me wrong, right? She wants to be a movie producer. I'm like, great.
Sick. Do it.
Let's go for it. Because I've worked hard and made a good living, right? So if I can't take that wealth, we'll call it, and plug that into them to make them better people, I'm an idiot.
For sure.
Right? And so to kind of get back to my point though, it's all about you. It's all about that highest level is about, I am so comfortable with myself and the choices that I make that I just beam confidence, right? And I don't have to worry about what I say. I don't have to worry about offending people, because when you're that confident in the goodness inside of you, right, you just talk.
Yeah.
You just, what's going on with you? What's going on? Well, I would do it this way. I would do it that way. Like, I offend people every now and again, don't get me wrong, right? But I think because I can come off with such, not overwhelming kindness, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I just,
it's like a gentle touch.
Yeah,
it's a gentle touch.
I'll give you what I think is real, but I won't judge you if you don't take what I tell you either. You get to do whatever you want in life.
Like that.
And in what you're actually, I think it's because we're all pointing up, that there's a respect level there where you look at each individual guy and you're like, hey, what are you doing with this? And like, well, I think this. Like, I've been asking a lot of guys, right, if they believe in God and an afterlife. It's probably the only thing I worry about, right? And we have wildly different opinions in our group, right? It's actually amazing. It's really diverse.
Very diverse, yeah.
And it's fun, like, kicking that feedback back and forth, because I can argue a point a little bit and they can kind of like argue it back with me and like, well, this is what I believe, this is what I think, and this, well, look at the evidence, Mark. Like, what do you think about this? Well, come on, man. What's the chances? Like, you have these like decently deep conversations, and really not that deep, but they're
a lot
honest.
deep. Yeah.
We're just having honest conversations, and it's such a nice way for all of us just to kind of point up north. But you're right. You get to pick and choose what you want, and then you can just kind of apply it to your life. Yeah. So I mean, I don't edit my posts generally unless I've really misspelled a word, because it's mostly for the reader. I actually don't even give a shit if I misspell a word or don't do it grammatically correct. I'm like, whatever, you get what I'm saying. Yep. And so, do you remember that post I put up about Kevin Hart and my son? Yeah. Dude, that was a weird day for me, man. Okay. That was a weird day. So if the people haven't heard this story, I'm like going to the gym, trying to get on fat, all this stuff going on at work. Takes a lot of time, all this kind of pressure. And I'm leaving the gym and I'm like, hey, babe, call my wife. I'm like, hey, grab the kids. Let's go to Goodwood. Let's just go have dinner as a family. I mean, it was like 8:30 at night. And we get there, dude. And my son, he was just being a doofy 10-year-old kid, just saying crazy stuff, dude. And it was like hurting my soul, right? It was like all my fears. He looks at me and I said something and he just goes, I don't know you that well, Dad. And I was like, what? Dude, it like freaking hurt me so bad. Yeah. Like, I almost started crying, legitimately. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I know Kevin Hart better than you. And then my daughter like piles on. She's just like, yeah, he thinks he knows Kevin Hart, but he barely knows Kevin Hart. And I'm just like sitting there, dude, like fighting back tears. And I'm like, I don't know. It was like the weirdest day, because I'm not that emotional. Yeah. And so anyway, I literally like look at my wife and she can like tell something's wrong. And I was in a different car, right? I'm like, hey, baby, just pay for this. I got to go home. I got to get shower it up. And she's like, oh, okay, which is weird. I don't always leave with my family. And I'm like in the car, just like, why does this hurt me so bad? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit in this and like figure it out. I come home, I sit, on the toilet before I jump in the shower, and I just put this post up, right? Where I'm like, this is what happened today, blah, blah, blah. I put a picture of Kevin Hart just smiling. And I posted it, I put my phone down, I jump in the shower, and I'm, letting the steam hit me, and I'm like getting my mind right. I'm like, dude, he's just a little kid. He knows you. Hell, you spend, 40 hours a week with the kid, like, what are you talking about? Like, calm down, you weirdo, like meditating it through. And I get out of the shower, dude. And I was probably there for 40 minutes, right? Yeah. And, I dry off, put some gym shorts on, time for bed, right? And I grab my phone and I'm like, dude, you're going to pull that post down, you self-righteous, not self-righteous, but like, you're trying to get people to tell you that they love you, kind of thing, or whatever. I just felt like it was like self-serving. That
it was a good post, though.
Dude.
It was a good post.
I bet I had at least 20 text messages, 4 or 5 missed calls. Yep. And just like an insane amount of comments, DMs. And I was like, what is going on? Yeah. And I'm like reading these, dude. And like, it was like man after man after man. It was like, dude, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Yep. Like, I'm with you, bro. Like, we just got to like, and they're like giving me advice, or they're just like, thank you so much for posting this. And I was like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to sleep on this. I was this close to deleting it. Because I'm
so glad you didn't. Yeah, that was a powerful post.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, bro. That honestly, it shifted my mindset on it.
Did it?
Like, yeah, because it's like, we really do allow them to, even like the Kevin Hart thing, it's like, just as it is, but like as the dad, like we should be the superhero. We should be the Kevin Harts and everything like that too. Like, so I got that side of it too. And like, yeah, no, it was a powerful post. I'm glad you posted it.
Yeah. Yeah. And looking back, I'm actually glad I did, just because it's good to check stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've always had this perspective, right? That, you know, in 60 years, we're all dust, right? Now, if our soul lives on, great. But we got one shot at this thing. And I am not going to be 65 looking back and being like, you work too much. You're worth $100 million now. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Your kids don't want to be around you. And I am so, and it's been like the last probably 3 years that I am just so keen on just being like, okay, I'm going to be a parent, and my goal is to be their best friend one day.
I like that.
Might be when they're 30, might be when they're 25, might be when they're 40. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows how long that path's going to be? Because it's going to be different. I have 3 kids, so it's going to be different for all 3 of them, right? And I'm like, but I am going to do that. I will one day be the guy that, like, hey, Dad, I want to go golfing. You want to come? Yeah. Absolutely, son. You know, because I put all that time in, and I parented it with kindness, but I also parented strong. You know, I think people mix up kindness and weakness. Yeah. And they to me, being nice is weak and being kind is strong. I think the most powerful men in our society show how powerful they are by choosing to be kind. You know, and sometimes being kind is telling people what they need to hear. Yeah. But you got to deliver that message the way that it needs to be delivered. And so, anyways, going some parenting rant, right?
No, honestly, so I have 3 kids. They're all younger though. We homeschool.
Oh, do you guys?
Yeah. So my wife homeschools our 7-year-old, and then we have, so I have a 7, 4, and 2. And so the 4 is just transitioning into it. But it's funny, like even the story you just said of the behind, like she gets that too. And like, I was terrible in school. Like I hated school. Like I was the kid in 2nd grade, like they couldn't get me to go to class. I hated it. Right. Yeah. And so that's why like I see it as like, that did not serve me really. Like cause like I was sick. I really was sick, but they gave me a medical pass in high school that I could leave class anytime I wanted, anytime. Like no big deal. Just peace out if you want. I never showed up. It was just like, whatever. And so I like luckily graduated, but like I look at it as like, I didn't learn. I'd go there and waste 8 hours a day and I didn't learn anything. And so like when my wife's like, oh, I'm a little bit behind, I'm like, no, like anyone that where he should be would be way behind where you're at. And it's like the same thing that you're saying, like, there's just these, like, societies put these like weird rules. Like, I'm so excited because I have that same plan. Like my son's going to come be my business partner at 15. Like that's the perfect age. He can come do all that with me and everything. But like, it is weird. Like how, if you really look at like what the school system's done, and so like, I'm glad you went on that little rant, but the school system's like, it's just weird. Like 8 hours a day, just like my kids are gone from me. Like I have no time to them. They never see me. They don't know me actually. I didn't really want that. Like, I want that opposite just because of that same goal. Like, I just want to be best friends with these kids. Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad I can like kind of watch what you do, which is cool.
I'll do all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Pick the best.
Teach me them all so I don't have to do it.
Just start taking notes. True. And dude, and honestly, man, we should get the wives together and just like have a stern conversation, right? Where it's like, girls, I think you're missing what's actually the opposite. What's the alternate choice of this? Yeah. There's some crazy crap that happens in public school. Shit. See, and I, you know, with my business, you know, one of my businesses, we do a lot of schools, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in schools, our clients are schools, districts, and all sorts of stuff. And dude, it's a babysitting racket. Facts. I 100% believe that school for a kid should be 2 hours a day.
I agree.
Now, my wife, don't get me wrong, she ain't doing that. She's like 4, right? Dude, when she first started doing homeschool, she's doing like 6. And I was like, it's a lot. Calm down, you know, but I think it should be, if you do 2 effective hours with a ton of play. Like I was watching a thing last night with Jordan Peterson, who I can't help but think he's the smartest man on the planet, right? Or he's up there.
The way he articulates his words is so amazing. But
his experience, right? Yeah. To me, what makes him so great is he has taken every session as a psychiatrist, every class that he's taught, every student he's interacted with, and it has just changed and changed and changed into a paradigm that is almost impenetrable. Yeah. Today, I mean, if you went to him, I'm assuming, I don't know him obviously, but if he was sitting here and we presented him information that was contrary to one of his beliefs, he would think about it and change based on new information. Yeah. It is such an important characteristic to have, right? Like I'm always changing. Yeah. You got to bring me some evidence, right? Yeah. But like if you bring me something and I'm wrong, I'm the first one to be like, you're right, dude, I was wrong. I'm absolutely wrong. Let's go with this. And he was going off last night. I was watching this on the plane ride home on how boys should play like 100 times more than they play now. And it's part of the reason why I let my kids. I mean, I've heard that before, but like last night was more of a confirmation, right? Where I was like, yeah, they do need to play. They need to draw and break crap and go chop wood in the backyard or walk around, grab rocks, chuck them at the fence. You know what I mean? You remember being a little boy,
we all
right?
did that.
It's curiosity. It's like keeping them young, keeping them innocent, you know, like we should take all of our kids and just go on a freaking like easy hike in the hills and just
let them be kids.
Like, not even half a mile long, right? Let them go break some stuff. Let's go grab some wood, tie it together, do a little Boy Scout crap, you know?
Yeah, it's honestly lacking. That's crazy. And it's just like how the world's just kind of shifted our mindsets. Yeah. Like that's really all it is. Well, like slowly too.
Yeah, even in sports, right? So we're both in the sports industry. Like, did you look at some of these AAU kids, bro? They never stop playing basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I was coaching football. Hopefully no one gets offended by this. But so I broke my back after my mission or during my mission, right? So playing football was over for me. Now I would have gone to college and played for sure. NFL, who the hell knows, right? You never know. Yeah. The chance of making it there is very, very slim, and awesome for all the dudes that made it, right? They also kind of pay a price
for sure,
right? Especially with their bodies.
Yeah.
But I would have paid that price. Yeah. I absolutely would have paid that price back in the day to do it. But I'm looking at these kids, you know, my son played football. These kids are like 9 and 10, dude. And like the amount of crap that these kids are doing to like get better. And these dads are just like, yeah, we're going to get a little bit ahead. I'm like, your kid is 73 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're overworking this kid. You know, where's the imagination, you know? Especially if they peak out at 10th grade in football. Yeah. At some level, at all sports, you have to have the body to go and play the sport. Okay. And everyone's going to be like, you know, oh, what about Muggsy Bogues or freaking Steve Nash? And it's like, he was one of a kind. That is not, when we take our society and like basically take the exception to every rule and be like, well, I'll just be the exception. And it's like, no, you won't. This is going to crash and burn. You need your kid to be a well-rounded adult. Now, don't get me wrong. I think sports are great. And if you keep your kids in sports, it keeps them out of trouble and it keeps them busy and it teaches them all sorts of leadership and being on a team and like depending on other people. Like there's a bazillion reasons to be in sports, but not every single day, their entire freaking life. Like I will never be the traveling dad. Yeah. I won't do it. You know, and the dads that choose to do that, I'm not judging you, but I just think I'm like, I feel like I've seen this play out a few times where like these kids are like told they're great, told they can be great, work hard. Then they're freaking 5'8", 190 pounds. They look great. They're solid.
Reality kicks in.
But they're just in college all of a sudden. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I should be on the football team. And it's like, no, you shouldn't. And no, you won't be. And then they kind of like lack a little bit. It's actually a lot of the guys that come out of professional sports, right? A lot of guys in the NFL, because a lot of guys are done by like 27, 28 in the NFL, right? I think you're 4 years average in the NFL, maybe 3.5, something like that. And so then they're like, well, I don't know what to do now, you know, especially if you left college early, right? Yeah. A lot of them go back to college, they finish it. And then, you know, by the time they're 30, they're like, well, I've pretty much played football every day of my life since I was 8, you know, and they're like directionless. And the parents are like, well, yeah, I don't know, figure it out. And I just feel like they feel really alone. And there's a little bit of depression with that and a little bit of well, what do I do? And what are my friends doing? Like, he blew all of his money on a steak restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these stupid investments they do. And then they end up, by the time they're 35, they don't have the money that they should have made. It's wild, right? And I personally tied that back to youth where I'm like, yeah, you should have given your kids, I don't know, more of a big breath of everything. Yeah. You know, like you can do this and you can do that. And this is what a happy family looks like. And yeah, we're going to go on vacation. And yeah, I don't give a crap if your coach benches you or like, you know, whatever. Yeah. I don't know. You kind of
I your world that. At all? Yeah, I get it. So like you met my business partner in one of my things, and he played basketball he played college basketball. He could have played professional, but he chose to go business. But like I asked him his youth, like, what was your life growing up? Like, just, was it like basketball, like normal school? And I was actually shocked how he explained it to me. Like, you explained it right when you said their whole life is basketball, but like when you get into the details of like they had to dedicate every single moment of their lives to get to where they were. Like that guy was moving state to state to go play on, oh wait, this 6th grade team was the best, so I moved to New Jersey. I was like, what? Did you just say your 6th grade team was the best, so you moved?
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of life they were living. Like, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, if you want to, like, that is a dedicated life to that. Yeah. I think there's like it's a weird thing, because like, if you dedicate your life to that so much, there's definitely going to have that fallout at the end, right? Like, and you're right, there's a ton of athletes that sit there and are like, what do I do next? And I feel like very few realize like, oh wait, I can pivot and turn what I had that motivation into a business, or into mentoring, or into coaching, or to helping, training, whatever it is. Because you're right, they just weren't really given the knowledge of like, hey, there is other opportunities out there that you can, thrive off of too. Yeah. With that same mindset. Like, if you dedicate yourself to something like that, no matter what it is, you're going to be successful. Yeah.
And then there's a layer too, right? Like, look at us now. I mean, part of our men's group is to become balanced. A lot of these guys are like, yeah, I just worked really, really, really hard, and I like have my family, and I kind of sacrificed time with them, and I lost like every friend because I was like building my empire or whatever, right? And then they're like, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty unhealthy. And a lot of us have never really taken time for us. Yeah. One thing that I've done that's really stupid is when I was told my football career was over in the hospital, right? My back doctor was Robert Berry. His son was Matt Berry. He was the quarterback at BYU at the time. Right? Yeah. And he walked in and he said, how you doing, man? And I was like, feeling good, blah, blah, blah. I'm high off my ass, on Oxy. And he's like, you're done playing football. And I was like, what? And he's like, Mark, don't ever play football ever again.
Oh, that's a terrible way to say it.
Yeah, you'll ruin your back. You'll ruin your life. It's done, man. And I was like, okay. Like, I was obedient, right? Because I was kind of in the Mormon missionary thing. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I won't do that. And then I decided I needed to like just go really hard into school and like business. And I I was still pretty fit until I was like in my 30s, I guess, but then I kind of let it go a little bit, carry about 40 extra pounds. I'm also 320 pounds. So I'm 40 pounds a little bit different to me. I could probably knock it out in 6 months, right? As I'm trying to right now.
There you go. You're
but I look
good,
back and I'm like, I did not prioritize my health over the years. Now, is that going to cost me a few years of my life? Who knows? Right. And like, I've never really been like a bad eater or anything like that. So I've always put healthy fuel in here, but I didn't prioritize that, and then even mental health. I actually go back and look at my life and I'm like, I don't know if I prioritize it or not. Yeah. Like, I don't really have trauma, or like any trauma that I've had. I shouldn't say I don't have trauma. I've dealt with all my trauma, a lot of it in real time. And so cool. I don't have stuff that's kind of haunting me all the time, which, it seems like a lot of men actually do, Yeah. And sometimes, they didn't know how to handle their wife, or bad things happen to them. Like they lost a child or a parent earlier. Like there's all these things that have can move you around. It's not either good or bad, right? It's just hitting their perspective and moving it around. And instead of just being like very confident and centered and moving down the road. And I look back at my life and I'm like, yeah, dude, I wish I would have learned how to meditate as a teenager. Yeah. I wish I would have said, you're going to check in with yourself every day. And it's simple, Mark. It's not like you got to hit a gong and turn the lights down low and get in, you can just I sit in the shower. That's what I do every day. Yeah. I've done it for as long as I can remember. I just sit in there and I just think of all the things I got to do. Smart. But now it's a lot more intentional, right? I just think of all the things that I want to do and I want to check in with myself. But I'm like, man, if I would have just learned that earlier on, it would have been, I don't know if I would have been different, but I would have breeze through life a little bit easier, I think. Yeah. Right?
Like meditation is definitely reaction, helps your reaction so much more. Yeah. If that's one of the things, why are they not teaching that in school? Yeah. You know what I mean? If you really want to talk about mental health and all of these kids and what's really going on, it's then help them. Yeah. Stop putting them in all these tests and everything. Go teach them how to meditate. Go teach them how to live life, how to go get a job, how to interview, how to get on stage, force everyone to do theater. Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you.
I like that in the theater again.
No, back into it. Hey, I'm going to keep bringing that up. I'm going to make sure you go up on stage. You got to make sure you have a line though. We got to get you a line in the play.
I'll ask for one. I'll commit right now. I'll ask for a line.
Facts. No, I agree with you though, dude. Meditation would have been huge. Yeah. It would have been huge growing up. But
yeah. Well, let's shift gears here a little bit, dude, because you have like a really, really fun career. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So.
And how'd you get into it?
Okay. Yeah. So my business background. So right now I view myself as like a brand consultant. And so I'll work with like a CEO or a founder for like 3 months, and just usually for the first month, I'll figure out what they're doing with their life, how they're doing it, how they're running their business, how their systems work, how their teams work, why they're successful, why they're not. And then that second month, I'll usually just try to like figure out what type of mini tweaks we could do. And a lot of the time it came up was like, yo, if we implement this affiliate program or implement this athlete affiliate program, that's all you need to do, because you're already getting this market right now, but this athlete gets you a whole nother market that doesn't even know about your brand. And so I was doing that for a little bit. And then obviously I was doing stuff with like Jimmy, right? So I was doing brand consulting with Jimmy. We were doing his stuff, but 2020 got into like a weird time, like during COVID. That was when before he started We Are the They and was like transitioning out of We Are the They. So I was just doing my own thing. Like we were just friends, and like we were still doing stuff like Rookery, like we were going to launch the studio and stuff, but like we weren't like really working heavy together. And it was just like, I had my brand consulting clients, I had friends with athletes. And what happened was BYU hit me up in January of 2020 or 2021. And they were like, hey, this is what's going on. NIL's coming. We know you do brand strategy. You know, you work with a lot of our donors. Can you just kind of look at this and see what you would do? And the strategy I came up with, I brought in different interns. I started placing interns that were college football players for the summer. And what I would do is I would go take them into my big meetings. So I would take them as like an intern, take them into my big sales meetings. They would talk and like, why is the best athlete here in the state at our meeting? Oh, this is what we do. Okay, yeah. This is really cool. And it was a hit. I loved it. BYU loved it. Everything was it. And ultimately the strategy rolled out. They did their thing with Built Bar, which was a massive success, and it was awesome. And I'm sitting there and I get a text that was like, hey, Brett, we appreciate you. We just had 2.5 billion views on Twitter. Have a great life. Enjoy the season type of thing. I'm like, dang, I probably should have found a way to cultivate on that. And that was the same time as Jimmy starting We Are the They. So I pivoted and I'm like, I'm going to launch a marketplace for athletes and brands. And, you know, I'm going to make it fun. I'm going to make it like Tinder, make it just different so they'll be on it. But that was at the same time that we launched We Are the They, as right as I was getting in the start of it. And luckily, the development company that was going in screwed me out of all of it. Like they took so much money and basically said they were about 60% done. And then they really were like 5% done 8 months in, and told us that they couldn't do anything that they said they could do. It was just too big of a project. And so I was like, all right, I'll just launch this We Are the They, focus on this, do this thing. We're loving it. It's going great. We're helping men, and we'll just kind of see what happens. Right. And in the meantime, I met that guy that you've met, my business partner X, and he was facilitating a ton of deals for jazz players. Yeah. Like, you know, Royce O'Neal is his best friend, you know, a bunch of players were just doing deals for him, and he was just doing things for them. And he was killing it, right? Like, you've met him, he just shifts through life. And I was like, I like this guy. And we kind of sat down and was like, hey, you're friends with athletes, they like you. And he, you know, tested it out, brought me around, like, all right, these guys like you. You have a ton of brand deals. Why don't me and you come together and just start on the back end? You bring the brand, I bring the athlete, we'll be the middleman, give them the strategy, make sure it goes. And we started doing it, and it was fun. Honestly, like, it is really fun. Just like yesterday, we had the biggest name in sports right now on with, you know, $1 billion company. And I'm just sitting there on the Zoom call, like, I don't have to do any work. It's like, hey, I'm Brett with Coinlete. Here's athlete one, here's brand one. You guys get to work. And I go and do my thing. Yeah. And like, I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is fun. Like, they're going to make so much money off each other. And like, they had no idea how to connect. And I have a really just like my goal in life is just to create profitable relationships. And why I love We Are the They so much is it fills my goal too much, like for the same level as that does too. Cause it's like, even they're not, maybe not recognized as like profitable relationships, because we don't really transfer money in We Are the They that much, you know, but like the the profitable relationships that are happening, and we are the profitable relationships that are happening with athletes. And so, yeah, long story short, I'm a brand consultant that focuses on just partnering people, creating relationships, creating communities, building communities. That's what I love to do. And then my focus though is I really like to integrate athletes with these brands in just a super unique way.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So what's the long-term goal with the company? Like, where are you guys going to take it?
Yeah. So, all right. So one of my clients was a big tech company, just got valued a couple of days ago over $1 billion. And they came to me like, yo, Draper moms love us. How can I get out of Draper moms? And I was like, all right, well, we have this player who's the most marketable player right now. Everyone in Utah loves him. Let's partner. Let's give him an equity deal, get him on the billboards, get him going. Everyone loves it. Player comes in for the meeting. It's the biggest win-win deal for everyone. So we're 8 months now and it hasn't gone anywhere. The deal just, for multiple reasons, everyone still wants it, but because there's been so many layers of communication, there is no way of like actually like pushing it in, and there's no dedicated like spot for like these deals to go through in the sports world. Like there's no like Slack or Teams or Skype where they go and communicate with each other. So it's like, all right, so the athlete passes it to his brand manager passes it to family passes it to agent passes it to financial guy passes it to lawyer. Every single time there was a delay or like, oh shoot, the lawyer didn't realize he got the email for 3 months. And so long story short, we realized that there needs to be an application or a platform built out that just is dedicated for the communication of that, to just solve those simple issues. Because if I'm an athlete and I have a big game, I'm going to have 5,000 text messages or Instagram messages from people congratulating me no matter what. Even if you are a $1 billion brand, I don't remember your name. I don't know who you are. I'm not going to go back and reach out to you. I've just scored 70 points. I'm not thinking about you right now. Yeah. I'm making millions of dollars on this end, but I still want these opportunities and the brands still want these opportunities. And so we're in the process of building out just a platform that's basically going to solve all that. Yeah. That's kind of the next steps with it.
How far down the road are you guys? Because Merrick actually shared the pitch deck with me.
Oh, he did? Okay. Yeah. So Merrick, I love Merrick. Merrick's taken on, so we have like in-house brands. We've started like in-house brands that like we pitch to our athletes, affiliates, and then we go to brands and like, look, we're killing it with this drink. Yeah. We have athlete affiliates. Yeah. And so Merrick kind of headed a lot of that, which was nice. And he crushed that. But yeah, we're pretty far along. Like I mean, in a couple months, or depending on when this podcast comes out, but I wish there will be some more things that I can share. Yeah. The partnerships that are coming into place. And luckily like that Xavier Jackson, he runs a ton of it and he's just crushing that. But like the connections and the deals that are coming into place are going to start announcing soon, which that's kind of, we'll start rolling it out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. But we're about 3 months until the software's done.
So do you guys just take a percentage of the deal?
Yeah.
Is that how you guys are making money?
Yeah. So at first, bro, we did like 25 deals, no money. We made no money on it. And it was just like,
why not though?
I wanted to do it as like a case study. I wanted to prove my method. I wanted to make a name. Looking back, I'm like, wow, it's probably not smart. But now what we do is we take a percentage from the brand. I don't want to take money from the athlete. And so we just tell the brand what the percentage you're going to give the athlete, and then we'll go and take 1 or 2 points on top of it.
Oh, okay.
And it's not anything heavy, but we don't want to be like, oh, let's go take a ton from the athlete. We got the deal. Well, that's not the goal here. Yeah. And we're also not trying to get the brands to spend more than what they do, but it's like, hey, if something goes here.
So the brands are basically allocating marketing dollars.
Correct.
Through your arm.
Yeah. Correct. Yep. Okay. Yeah. It's like, we just are saying like, yo, instead of using your normal influencer marketing, just use an athlete instead and see what happens.
Yeah. Is it easy to get the athletes to buy in?
No.
Okay.
There's a level of trust with athletes and agents and brand managers that is almost impossible to break. Yeah. Which, to be fair, they're screwed by a lot. I mean, there's a story right now of Lamar. There's a random guy going around hitting up NFL teams saying he represents Lamar Jackson. Like,
oh, really?
But he's like a reputable guy. He's got like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and it's like, he's not though. He's not following him. And so like, that's what I'm telling you. There's a lot of just like bad people in the sports world. And so athletes don't trust. That's the cool thing though, is like, once you're in, you really get in, and if they do trust you, athletes will open up their books. And what's cool is if one athlete does it, all of their friends want to do it without a doubt. And so we feel like we've broken that trust and really like broken through to that trust and really like are becoming known as like, all right, these guys are doing it different. They're not trying to just get a name off of us or anything. Like I won't even tell you the athletes we're working on right now. And we have agreements where we could say that. Yeah. And it's just like, I just don't want to make my name off of someone else's athlete. I'd rather make a name off of the relationships that we built.
Yeah. Cool. No, I like that. No, it's, I tried to start, sorry, I'm stuttering like crazy. I tried to start a private equity fund a couple of years ago, probably like 7 or 8 now with some NFL guys, right?
That's sick.
And we were going through their agents because, you know, there's a bazillion levels to this, right? You got to talk to their cousin, you know, Bucky, whoever, you know, it's just like, he's my financial guy. Correct. It's like,
their manager.
Are you kidding me?
It's that. Yeah, it's true, bro.
They sit there and they got a hard ass you, right? Because it's like they don't know what they're doing, right? And you're just like, okay, let me explain this to you how this works again, you know? But the biggest problem with starting a private equity fund with them, dude, is it freaking takes money out of the pocket of their financial guy who they already have the trust of, right?
Correct, yep.
And so technically it's illegal to enrich that guy out of a private equity fund, right? Because it's like he's not a broker, you know what I mean? He's just their financial guy.
It's true.
And so we didn't do it, long story short, right? Because it was so much. And then we got on a call. We had one guy, dude, that was like, he was going to be, and he's a major player in the NFL, right? And I was excited. And we're working through his agent and the whole thing, you know? And I was like, okay, cool. And we get on like 3 calls, dude. And he's hired this marketing team, right? Or sorry, a brand management team for him. He's the brand, right? His name. And he was so hell-bent on doing a clothing line. And it was like a fashionable, high-end men's line, right? And I'm like, I'm a very honest dude, which always sometimes hurts me, right? And I'm just like, listen, bro, I know nothing about men's fashion. This is a waste of money, right? Like, we are going to go and we're going to invest this money in long-term projects. This is going to keep you rich for the rest of your life. That is the problem that the NFL guys have. Number one, you don't make money like the NBA guys, not even close. Right? So you have to use your capital allocation properly, right? And not get nickeled and dimed by every bro that comes down the line, right? Now I'm saying this on it wasn't a Zoom call back then, right? It's that long ago, right? It was like on just a normal conference call. And he's like, well, how are we gonna weave this in with, you know, and he'd like get his brand guy. How are we gonna weave my brand in with the private equity group? And then he had no clue, right? And he's just like going on and on and on. And I'm just like sitting there just like, if I could just hit a button and eject this dude from the conversation, I would do it, you know? And be like, hey, man, listen to me. Okay, this is not rocket science. You're going to put $1 million in. 10 of your friends are going to put $1 million in. We're going to take that $10 million and invest it into a real estate deal or a couple companies and diversify it inside of our private equity group. And then we're going to manage it and get you out of deals, in and out of deals, and grow this portfolio up to $200, $400, $500 million. You know, keep on adding money and, you know, grow this thing. It's just your run-of-the-mill, nothing special private equity group, right? And he was just, dude, and after like 3 or 4 phone calls, I was just, and I'd get on the call with his brand guy, and I'd get on the phone with his financial guy, you know, and he's like, well, we're doing really well in the stocks that we've got him in. And it's just like,
of course,
no, you're not.
Yeah, of course you say
10
that.
mutual funds, and you've diversified this guy, right? But whatever, right? I'll tell you after who it was. You'll laugh your butt off, dude.
No, I'm glad you see it, bro. Because like the brand managers, usually they mean well, but usually it's a friend or a brother or cousin, and usually, you know, they're learning, right? They're learning on the fly too, which is fine. Like, but you're right. They're there for like a gatekeeper and like a trust level, but it can hold up the deals. The financial guys too are the hardest to work with sometimes, because you're right. They view you as like you're taking money from me, when it's like, yo, we're just trying to build this awesome opportunity. I'm so sorry if you don't get a cut of it, but if you truly care about this player, like, you should 100% like, you know, take this opportunity for him. Like, why would you not? And it's like, I think that's where you come into it. Like a brand manager, they'd be willing to, you know, they're willing to take opportunities, but the financial guy, they're like, nope, cut it down. It's like, we know why you're not, you know?
This brand guy, I think he was equitied into this clothing company. That was the deal,
that makes sense.
So it's like, well, let's put $1 million in the clothing instead of $1 million in a private equity. Anyways, but
no, that makes sense.
We were actually going to make this athlete part of the management group, so he was going to make management fees and have his own money in the deal, right?
He would make
like the guy, you know. But anyways, it died.
No, bro, you get it.
It's a funny world, though.
It is.
So, Well, my gosh, dude, we're actually at the end of our time.
Bro, I'm sorry.
That's how fast this goes,
We
dude.
crushed it. How long
no,
do you
you're
usually
good.
go?
Hour and a half.
Oh, okay. No, we did good then.
Yeah,
All right, perfect.
yeah,
No, bro, I appreciate you. Like I said, I usually don't like these, and this was fun, bro. This was just a combo.
You're amazing. Thanks for coming on, dude.
No, I appreciate it, bro. Keep
But
doing
I need
this.
you, though, because you listen to the podcast, I need your best 2 minutes of advice.
Ooh, best 2 minutes of advice. All right, I got you. Control your reaction. I think that the number one advice that I'm telling people right now, and the thing that I've learned the most in my young business life that's hurt me so much, because I tell people, even though I'm 27 and, entrepreneurs and about, 8 years in, I've gone through 2 massive lawsuits, and it's all because I didn't know how to control my emotions and learn to properly react in times when they get tense. And if I could have just sat back, taken a deep breath, not reacted, and figured out the situation, it would have cost me a ton of time, ton of money. And so I think as men, especially in this business world, but just as human beings, like, be cautious of how we react in this world. Like, it takes one quick decision to ruin your entire life, and you shouldn't do it just because you were heated or because you were mad or you were in the moment. And so I just, my advice, then the thing that I'm telling myself every day is, anytime I get triggered, I look for the opportunity to see, why is God giving me a chance to make this right, make this better, make this situation so I'm not triggered. And so, yeah, my best 2 minute advice is control your reaction.
Not perfect, dude. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.